Hey, what's up, Car Shipping Rock Stars? It's your girl Ashley from ReloGeek.com, and on this episode, I wanted to talk about running a lean business. So, whether you're an auto transport broker or a call hauler, I believe it's very important to really consider running a lean business. When I was first started out as a broker, I had all the bells and whistles. I had the fanciest software. I had the fanciest phone systems. I had the most expensive desk, although nobody was going to see it. And when I can't say it was the most expensive desk. It cost me $1,200, which when I look back, I could have gotten easily a desk for like $200. But I did everything big. And the reason for that is because I wanted people to take me seriously. I knew I was a girl working out of my house, but I didn't want them to believe that or to think that, because then I felt like they would not trust me. What I quickly learned is that the majority of my clients wound up being people who actually work from home, whether it's for themselves or for companies where they're allowed to work at home. And that opened my eyes to something. By realizing that, it changed my life, it changed my business. And I had made a conscious decision that it didn't matter that I worked from home, that this was the new norm and it was okay. And it was in fact encouraged because you spend a lot less working from your home. Now, obviously, if you have employees, that makes it impractical. But I was a one-woman shop at the time, it was the most practical thing I could have done for my business. So I immediately saw that and I said, you know what? I'm going to embrace that. I'm going to embrace the one-woman shop. I'm going to embrace working from home, and I'm going to keep the high level of professionalism that I did have, but I immediately removed the fancy software. I removed a lot of the other bells and whistles that I didn't feel like I needed. And that shift changed everything. The less money I was spending on my overhead costs meant more profit in my pocket, which means I can either A, work a lot more and see a lot more money in my pocket, or I can continue working at the same pace, B, and see this more money in my pocket still because I'm not working as much. Or there's a C, I could work less and make what I was making prior to that. And that basically changed everything. And I don't talk about it as much in Relo Academy as I do in my car hauling course, Haul and Hustle. In Haul and Hustle, I talk to you guys a lot about maximizing profits, because as a car hauler, it's very important that you get the most money possible at every turn. Because if you can make more money by doing simple little tweaks that I teach you in that course, then at the end of the day, your profits are going to be a lot higher, and you're going to make a lot more money than you would, or than somebody else would, doing the same type of work, doing the same runs as you, but yet you're making a lot more because you're smarter. So with that being said, the idea behind a lean business just literally, it means that you are not spending money on unnecessary items. So where you can bootstrap or you can get the same type of effect for less, then I highly recommend that. So for instance, for me, building websites, a lot of website designers cost about $3,500 for a decent website. And I was like, I'm not paying that. I already did, granted, have website design experience because I've been designing sites for like now since like the past probably like 12 years. So I have already had that experience, but I still was like, you know what? I'm going to learn more. Like, I'm going to learn to do this right as it pertains to auto transport. So I learned the things that I needed to do. Another instance of where I saved money, rather than having the fanciest, most expensive software that I didn't need, I was able to downsize. Yes, having, certain quirks or bells and whistles might have been nice, but did I really need that? Was it really providing a better experience for my customers? And if it wasn't, I eliminated it. I had a phone system. And for me, I had the phone system because initially, some of you guys know this, but I started the business with my partner, and then we both had different ideas of how the business was supposed to be ran, and they had no interest in being in the business. So it was given that I just take over full control of the business. So I did. And so when I had a partner, I needed separate phone lines. And so I had one for me and one for him. But then when he backed out of the business and it was just my baby, my business, I rebranded the name to ReloGeek, and I also got rid of the phone system because I was more about customer service on a personalized level. They were more about being bigger and appearing bigger. And that was one of the biggest lessons that I learned, was that you don't have to appear bigger. And I'll talk about that in another podcast. But so I eliminated that. And obviously I couldn't get rid of the $1,200 desk that I bought, but I learned. And from there, when I evolved into my consulting business that I run now, I've adapted the same philosophy. Back then I used Infusionsoft. Infusionsoft is an amazing email marketing software. Amazing. So amazing. It worked. However, over time I realized that it was an overkill. So I got rid of that, and I went right now for my business. If you guys subscribe to my mailing list, I use MailChimp, which for most people is a free software. If you want the upgrades, then you'll pay monthly or yearly for it. And again, I tell you guys all the time, you can use Grasshopper. It has its purposes. Like, for instance, if you want an 800 number or an 888 number or 855 number, and for the purpose of putting it out there to the world, so whoever wants to call you is free, which it doesn't even matter nowadays, because everybody has a cell phone that can call. And if not, their house phone usually is like an internet phone, so it can call in the continental United States for no extra money. But if that was the case and you really just wanted an 888 number, then you can use a service like Grasshopper to fulfill that. But really, you don't need that. I highly recommend, like I said, going the lean route and choosing something like Google Voice. It's free. So with that being said, I just wanted to share this podcast because I feel like a lot of you guys are jumping into your business and feeling like you need the biggest, the best, the baddest to compete with these larger brokers. And it's not really about you competing with them. It's about embracing who you are and just using your what most people would look at as your weaknesses and use them as your strengths. So being small is not necessarily a weakness. Use it as your strength, and then you're going to win, and you're going to win big. And that's the whole idea, is to win big. But it all starts with, as I said in Hustle, I call it maximizing your profits. And it's all about maximizing your profits at every single turn. There was a study done that showed that a lot of businesses normally think that in order to save more money or get more profits, they have to make more money. They have to sell more goods. But what they found was that if they eliminated some of the things that they already had that they were paying for, services or products, and somehow combine them in a way that saved them money, they're actually increasing their profits without having to get more clients. And it's the same thing in your auto transport business. You can actually increase your profits, whether you're a call hauler or a broker, simply by adjusting how you spend your money. So think about that as you're running your business. And if you already started your business, think about that as you embark on this journey. How can I get the same effect, but maybe not for an expensive or an enormous amount of money? I'm not telling you guys to be cheap, because quality over quantity. However, I'm just saying be smart. So that's it for this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you feel like this was a great podcast and you know somebody that can benefit from this podcast, be sure to pass it along. Thank you guys for listening. I'm Ashley from ReloGeek.com. Now get out there and make moves happen. I will talk to you guys soon.